My name is Richard Maillard. I've been married 27 years to the most beautiful bride, Candace. We have 3 awesome kids. I train people in fitness. You name it, I've taught it. Anything with the word adventure attached to it, you'll typically find me somewhere around there. I was born in England, in Kent. Growing up, it wasn't a real stable environment. My dad was pretty volatile, had a real anger streak to him. So it's very unsafe. The relationship with my mum and dad was very explosive. They divorced when I was about 9 years old, and that was the last contact with my father, and that was it. Sometimes we would go to church with our grandparents, but it would only be like Christmas time or Easter. That was the extent of Christianity, of knowing Jesus in my life. I was 4 or 5 at the time, and not coming from a Christian background. I had a dream. I was standing up in clouds. I could see these children, and they were going home, but I didn't know what that home was. And I said, I want to go where they're going. Then I became aware of a presence. He had a long white robe, and I couldn't see his face. I just said, can I go too? He lifted up his hand, pointed to me, and said, no. And I stunnedly woke up back in my bed, thinking, why can't I go? Who was that? That was the beginning of pursuing what that dream was all about. As the years went on, that planted a seed that I could not deny what happened. And it kept me out of a lot of trouble. It was always a knocking on my spirit. I believe that dream was a catalyst to my journey of becoming who I am today. Schooling for me at that age was not an exciting period. They didn't know what ADD was or dyslexia. And so as a young boy struggling with that, it made schooling a little awkward. It wasn't fun. You know, you'd get labeled, not a quick learner. So I pretty much felt, worthless and stupid, not learning the same ways as other kids back then. I did a lot of martial arts and I competed at a high level. And so I found my escape in sport. So that was exciting. I mean, it took me to different competitions, even across Europe. My mum remarried. All of a sudden, we thought we were going to have a family again, but that wasn't the case. He turned out to be a pedophile, destroyed the relationship that I had with my sister. She had to move out. And so the dream of having a family again was dismantled and just fell by the wayside. And I'm thinking, not again. I finished school at 16, 17, I was gone. And so I moved out. I was working at this 5-star hotel as a gym instructor and a water aerobics instructor, and I had to train all these older ladies. And I say, morning ladies, and they go, hi Richard. And that was so much fun because the relationships. I met a Danish girl at the hotel. She was a waitress. I was single and I'm thinking, sure, go off to Denmark and experience another country. So I went off to Denmark. God wasn't anywhere in the picture that time. I was just a lad traveling and keeping clean, keeping out of trouble. That dream would always come back. I would always be searching, who am I? I wanted to find my place. I got some work as a stone layer. The guy that I was working for invited me to come with them to the United States. The Olympics was coming into Atlanta. They needed some stonework done and stuff of that nature. And I said, yes. My friend invited me, hey, I'm going to Chattanooga for the weekend, you want to come? And I'm like, Chattanooga, where's that? And then he told me it was Tennessee. I'm like, sure, I've never been to Tennessee. The place was called Precept Ministries, summer camps for people to learn the Bible and stuff. There was this lady there, her name was Carol Matthews, and she asked me these questions. Now, who are you? I was like, that's a good question, who am I? The dialogue started to unfold page by page as she was reading my life story, and everything had Jesus's fingerprint on it. It was a journey that I collected. All these moments were now revealed in front of this lady who was joining them up for me. And at the end, it was Jesus. And I knew him, but most importantly, he knew me. And it was him calling. This encounter with this godly lady was able to help me come to a place that was the beginning of change, but it was the beginning of me coming home. She asked me, she said, well, now you know who he is. Do you want to give your life to the Lord? I'm like, yes, I'm going to give my life to Jesus. Why would I wait a second longer to walk with him when he's known me all this time? I gave my life to Christ that night because he gave me value. because he gave me identity. He gave me purpose. He gave me joy. He gave me family. He answered all those questions because that stone was rolled away, because he rose from the dead, and because he gave me that life. He knew me, and he died and gave himself up for me. So the next day came on. Man, was that real? Or is this just my imagination? And so I walk outside. I said, God, I want to know if that was you last night. He said, okay. Basically, I was going to test God. I'm thinking, what's the most obscure thing I could possibly think of to test was that God last night? So back in England, at school, we'd have school fields, and when you play soccer and football and cricket, we'd look through the grass to try and find a four-leaf clover. I never found one, not one time. So I said, okay, God, if that was you, I want to find a four-leaf clover. He said, close your eyes. Now walk. He said, stop. Look down at your right foot. There it was. That was a four-leaf clover. And from that moment, I never looked back. Everything came alive. That was the resurrection for me. Even today, it takes any reasons why not away. And now I get to live that, not for just me, I get to live it for him. He rose that I could do life, that I could have communion, that I could sit with him, that I could talk with him. And that's the power of the resurrection. God knew my name from the very beginning, and he knew who I was. I have a furnace burning inside that's forever stoked, and I love him, and I can't deny him. And boy, do I live a life for him now.